Welcome to this life-changing video. You are not here by accident. You are here because deep down you know something is off. You have tried to stay motivated. You have tried to build better habits. You have watched countless videos, read famous quotes, and made big plans. But you are still stuck. You are still overthinking. You are still putting things off. You are still getting in your own way. And lately, you have started to wonder, is something wrong with me? Why do I sabotage my own success? Why do I know exactly what to do, but I still do not do it? Let me share a truth that nobody told you. Not in school, not in college, and not at home. It is not your willpower. It is not your motivation. It is your brain. Yes, your brain is the problem, but it is also the only solution. Your brain is not lazy, it is not broken, it is simply doing exactly what it was trained to do. Even if that training came from past pain, negative people, bad thoughts, or endless scrolling on social media. Your brain is running 95% of your life on autopilot. That means only 5% of your day is controlled by your conscious goals. The rest is controlled by invisible mental programs. Programs written by your past, not your future. So even if you say, I want to wake up early, I want to build a business, I want to be successful, your brain will fight you if it has been trained for fear and comfort. That is why motivation dies so fast. That is why you keep starting over. You were taught math, and you were taught how to follow rules, but you were never taught how to train your mind. And now you are here, smart and capable, but still stuck because your mind is running on old code. If you do not reprogram that code, you will live your entire life under your true potential. That ends today. In this video, I will give you 9 powerful mental weapons to rewire your brain from the inside out. These are not hacks. These are not cheap motivation. These are weapons forged from psychology and raw truth. Let us begin. Weapon 1. Mind override. If you do not stand guard over your thoughts, they will eventually run your entire life. So, what exactly is mind override? It is the deliberate skill of catching your automatic, negative thoughts in the act and immediately replacing them with intentional, winning commands. This is how you break the mental autopilot that keeps you stuck in place. It is how you stop a downward spiral of negativity before it turns into your reality. It is how you stop being a passenger in your own mind and start being the pilot. Most people never override their thoughts. They simply obey them. They believe every fearful thought that pops up. They follow every lazy urge. They let every distraction win the day. That is why they stay stuck in the same place. That is why they live with regret. Imagine you wake up and your alarm goes off. Your brain immediately suggests, just sleep 10 more minutes. At that exact moment, your day is already at risk because you did not override that command. You followed it. And your brain learns that it is okay to be weak. Now, imagine this happening hundreds of times a day. You are about to work, but your mind whispers, let us just check social media for a second. You are about to exercise, but your mind says it is fine to skip just one day. Every single time you follow that voice, your brain records it as a pattern. That pattern becomes your personality, and your personality becomes your destiny. Mind override starts with one simple rule. The first thought is automatic, but the second one is yours. You cannot always stop the first thought from appearing, but you can always choose the second one. When your brain says, I cannot do this, you override it with, I will figure this out. When it says, I am not good enough, you override it with, I am still becoming who I need to be. This is not lying to yourself. This is training your brain to support your future instead of your fear. Let us look at a real-life example. There was a young man named Lucas who dreamed of becoming a professional athlete. Every single day, he trained at 5 in the morning before class. One freezing winter morning, the temperature was below 0. He was tired, hungry, and his body was in pain. His mind screamed at him, "Just stay in bed, you deserve a rest." But he did not argue, and he did not negotiate. He simply whispered one sentence: "We do not skip greatness." He got out of bed, and he trained. That moment of override changed his life. Years later, Lucas said that one override at 5 in the morning taught his brain that his mission comes before his mood. That is what makes winners. They do not obey the first thought. They override it. You are not your thoughts, and you are not your impulses. You are the commander of your mind, if you choose to be. Master this, and your brain will stop being your enemy. Weapon 2. Repetition ritual. You do not become who you want to be by doing something once. You become it by doing it over and over again. A repetition ritual is a powerful mental weapon that changes your brain using the proven principle of neuroplasticity. Your brain is not a static object. It is not fixed. It is always changing based on the things you repeat daily. The problem is that most people are repeating the wrong things. They repeat negative self-talk. They repeat hours of mindlessly scrolling through feeds. They repeat complaining. And they repeat the cycle of quitting and restarting. Every time you repeat these things, your brain learns that this is your identity. Think of your brain like a dense jungle. Your thoughts are the paths you walk through it. The more you walk a specific path, the clearer and easier it becomes to travel. If you keep walking the path of doubt, fear, and laziness, your brain will make that your default route. But if you start walking a new path, a path of discipline, focus, and courage, you can build new highways in your mind. However, this only happens if you walk those new paths every single day, without fail. Motivation might give you the spark, but repetition is the fuel that keeps the fire burning. Motivation is temporary, but repetition is how you make things permanent. Consider the story of a legendary basketball player named Marcus. He was widely known as one of the hardest workers in the game. When people asked him why he practiced the same simple shots thousands of times, even after he had already mastered them, he gave a simple answer. He said that he was not just training his muscles, he was programming his mind. He wanted his brain to react automatically when the pressure was high. Because he repeated those drills every single day, his body knew what to do without him having to think about it. He removed fear and hesitation through sheer repetition. You do not need to wake up at 4 in the morning like he did, but you do need non-negotiable rituals. A repetition ritual is something small, simple, and consistent that rewires your brain over time. It could be reading for 10 minutes every morning to train your mind to learn, writing down your goals to reinforce your belief, or practicing a new language every evening to build fluency. It does not matter what the ritual is, as long as you treat it with military consistency. Do not do it only when you feel like it. Do it especially when life is hard. That is when your brain is actually changing. Remember, the goal of repetition is not to be perfect. The goal is to transform. You are already repeating something every day. The question is that repetition building you up, or is it breaking you down? Take control, stay consistent, and let your rituals build the person you are meant to become. Weapon 3. Pain conditioning. If you spend your life running away from pain, you are also running away from your own potential. Pain is not something to be avoided. It is the gym of the mind. Pain conditioning is a rare mental weapon used by those who understand a simple but brutal truth. Your brain does not grow in comfort. True growth only happens during periods of controlled suffering, when you face your fears, walk into discomfort, and choose the hard path over and over again. Conditioning means training a system to perform better under pressure. Pain, whether it is physical or emotional, is the ultimate resistance tool for building mental muscle. Most people want a better life, but they refuse to pay the price of admission. They want confidence, but they hide from rejection. They want success, but they avoid the risk of failure. They want discipline, but they choose the comfort of the couch. This is why they fail. Comfort is like a drug that makes you soft. Every time you choose the easy way out, you are literally shrinking your mental capacity. When you voluntarily step into difficult situations, your brain learns to release dopamine after the work is done, not before. This is the secret. Winners train their brains to find pleasure in the effort. Average people train their brains to seek instant relief from the effort. When you push through physical exhaustion or mental boredom, you are not just surviving. You are rewiring your nervous system to become emotionally bulletproof. Look at the example of someone like Sarah, a corporate professional who decided to turn her life around. She was tired of feeling weak and anxious, so she started a regimen of intentional discomfort. She began taking cold showers every single morning. She started running even when it was raining. She forced herself to speak up in meetings even when her voice shook. At first, it was miserable. Her brain screamed at her to stop, to go back to the way things were. But she didn't listen. She treated that pain as a signal that she was getting stronger. After 6 months, she was a different person. She didn't break under pressure because she had conditioned herself to handle it. You don't need to run 100 miles or endure extreme hardship to start. Pain conditioning is built through small, daily decisions. Take that cold shower. Say no to the instant gratification of junk food. Finish the task you find boring. Speak the truth, even when it's awkward. Every time you lean into the discomfort instead of running from it, your brain registers a win. It realizes that you are not a person who collapses. You are a person who conquers. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your personal trainer. The more you use it, the more unstoppable you become. Weapon 4. Identity hack. You will never rise above the version of yourself that you believe you are. This is one of the most powerful concepts you will ever learn. Identity hack is the art of rewriting the invisible script inside your brain that dictates your limits. Your identity is your mental operating system. If your core belief is that you are lazy or that you are not smart enough, no amount of productivity apps or motivation will save you. Your brain will work overtime to sabotage any progress you make because it wants to stay consistent with the identity you have built. Most people are trapped in an identity they did not even choose. It was programmed into them by childhood criticism, past failures, toxic relationships, or the judgment of others. They defend these limitations by saying, "I am just not a morning person," or "I have always been this way." That is not the truth. That is just an identity trap keeping you stuck in your past. Your brain is a goal-seeking machine, and it will do anything to make your daily behavior match your identity. If you see yourself as a loser, your brain will find ways for you to lose. If you see yourself as a winner, your brain will naturally find ways for you to succeed. Think of an iconic figure, like a famous champion boxer from the past. He did not wait until he had the belt to call himself the greatest. He spoke it into existence before he ever stepped into the ring. He did not wait for the world to validate his worth. He hammered that new identity into his own mind until his body, his training, and his performance had no choice but to catch up. This is the power of the identity hack. You must speak your new self into existence before you feel ready. You must act as that person before you have the results. Here is how you use this weapon every day. First, define the identity you actually want. Stop saying what you want to achieve and start stating who you are. Instead of saying, "I want to be successful," say, "I am the kind of person who finishes every single task I start. I am a focused, disciplined, and powerful human being." Repeat this out loud, in the morning, at night, and whenever you feel small. Act in alignment with this version of you, even when it feels fake. Your brain does not know the difference between a real memory and a vividly imagined one. When you track your small wins, you are showing your brain proof that your new identity is real. You will never reach the level of your goals, but you will always rise to the level of your identity. So stop waiting for permission and start building the person you were meant to be. Weapon 5. Dopamine shutdown. Until you break your addiction to cheap, instant pleasure, your brain will never have the energy to chase real purpose. To master this, you must understand dopamine. It is the chemical in your brain that drives motivation. It is the reason you get out of bed, but it is also the reason you reach for your phone to scroll for hours. Your brain was designed for survival in a world that no longer exists. Back then, dopamine was a reward for hunting, building, or solving real problems. Today, your environment is hijacking that system. Every time you open a short-form video app, get a like on social media, or eat junk food, your brain gives you a cheap hit of dopamine. The problem is that your brain is constantly lowering the bar for what it considers a reward. When you finally sit down to do something that actually matters, like studying, building a business, or reading a deep book, your brain is already bored. It is tired, overstimulated, and addicted to the fast stuff. This is why you lose focus. This is why you feel anxious when you are not distracted. Your dopamine receptors have become dull because you have been feeding them junk. Most people never break this cycle because they think this level of distraction is normal. They spend 7 hours a day glued to a screen and call it relaxing. They do not realize that they are literally rewiring their brains for weakness. They lose the ability to sit in silence, to think clearly, or to enjoy slow growth. When you are constantly overstimulated, you cannot feel the satisfaction of hard work because your brain is waiting for the next cheap hit. Let me tell you about a guy named Arthur. He was a brilliant student in his early 20s who suddenly lost his edge after college. He was spending 8 hours a day on social media, and he couldn't even read a single page of a book without checking his phone. He felt empty, lazy, and stuck. One day, he decided to perform a dopamine shutdown. He cut out all low-quality stimulation for 30 days. No social media, no junk food, no mindless entertainment. The first 10 days were like torture. His brain was craving the distraction like a drug. But after 2 weeks, something incredible happened. He could sit in silence. He started writing again. He regained his clarity and his drive. He got his brain back. You don't need to quit everything forever, but you must take back control. Start by picking one high dopamine habit to remove for a full week. Maybe no social media after 6 in the evening. Replace that time with low dopamine activities, like going for a walk in nature, journaling, or reading. Track how you feel. You will notice more energy, more peace, and more mental sharpness. Your goal is to reset your brain so that it finds reward in real life again. The battle for your mind is a battle for your dopamine. Stop the cheap pleasure, and you will unlock your true power. Weapon 6. Target lock. Your mind can either wander aimlessly or aim precisely, but it cannot do both. Target lock is the mental weapon of extreme focus. It is the ability to lock your attention onto one single goal, one mission, and ignore everything else. In a world that screams for your attention through notifications and endless tabs, this is a superpower. Modern life tries to force you into multitasking, doing 5 things halfway and never finishing any of them. But Target Lock trains your brain to do one thing with absolute obsession. Because obsession is what builds empires. This is the fundamental difference between the people who never finish their projects and the ones who change the world. Distraction is not just a nuisance, it is fatal to your dreams. Every time you switch from one task to another, your brain has to reload its focus. This creates something called attention residue, which drains your energy and kills your deep work. That is why you can be busy for 8 hours straight and still feel like you accomplished nothing. Your focus was scattered, and your brain was everywhere except where it needed to be. When you lock your target and focus deeply on one single task, your brain enters a state of flow. In this state, time seems to vanish, doubt disappears, and your creativity hits a new level. You cannot enter this state if your brain is constantly being pulled in different directions. Target lock forces your brain into flow training. The more you practice deep focus, the more your brain learns to stay there longer. And that is where extraordinary work is born. Think about a young woman named Elena. She was a regular student who decided she wanted to build an online business, while everyone else was just wasting time on social media. While her friends were binge-watching series or laughing at memes, Elena logged in for 2 hours every single day. She had no phone, no extra tabs open, and no excuses. Just pure, focused creation. At first, the progress felt slow, but after 90 days, she had built something real. After 2 years, she was teaching thousands of people across the globe. She wasn't born a genius. She was just more focused. She built her future while they scrolled their lives away. To train this weapon in your own life, start by choosing one goal, not 5. Maybe you want to learn a language, write a book, or get in shape. Schedule deep focus time, even if it is just 30 minutes a day. When you sit down to work, treat it like a mission. Act as if nothing else in the world exists except the task in front of you. Track your progress every week and watch how your brain improves in speed and quality. Your future doesn't need more goals. It needs more focus. If you want to change your life, stop trying to do everything. Pick one thing, do it fully, and do it like your life depends on it. Weapon 7. Victory Delay Mode. Weak minds crave instant results, but trained minds are willing to suffer longer to win forever. Victory Delay Mode is the mental weapon of long-term vision and ironclad discipline. It is the ability to say, I will not get my reward today, but I will still show up, I will still push through the pain, and I will still give everything I have. Have because I am not training for a quick win. I'm training for a permanent transformation. This is the weapon that separates the dreamers from the achievers. Most people want success without the sacrifice. They want the trophy without the training. And the moment they don't see immediate results, they throw in the towel. We live in a world that is obsessed with instant gratification. We have notifications that ping every second, delivery apps that bring us food in minutes, and social media platforms that reward us with likes the moment we post. Everything around you is designed to make you impatient. It tricks your brain into thinking that if you haven't succeeded in a month, something must be wrong. That is a lie. True success is slow, and suffering is part of the price you have to pay. Because most people are never taught how to delay their victory, they fall into a trap of mental weakness. They quit if they don't get praise. They stop if they don't get views. Their brains are addicted to short-term approval and are terrified of long-term struggle. Think about a talented artist named Maya. For years, she painted in total obscurity. She had no viral moments, no massive following, and she didn't make a dime for a long time. Her friends told her to get a real job, and her family worried she was wasting her life. But Maya didn't care about the noise. She woke up every single morning and painted for hours because she believed in her craft. 10 years later, a major gallery discovered her work, and she became an overnight success that had actually taken a decade to build. When someone asked her how she kept going for so long without any reward, she simply said, "My reward wasn't the sale. It was the strength I built by not needing it." That is victory delay mode in action. To activate this in your life, start by choosing a mission that is worth the wait. Something essential, not just exciting. Track your effort, not your outcome. Don't worry about how many likes you get. Track how many days you showed up. Track how many times you didn't quit when you wanted to. Tell yourself, my results are on delay, not denial. Every day that you suffer in silence, you are rising in power. Avoid the poison of short-term comfort. Don't let scrolling or quitting early steal your future. Winners aren't faster, they are just willing to suffer longer. When your victory finally arrives, it won't be luck, it will be earned. Weapon 8. Self-talk. Rewire. The most dangerous voice you will ever hear is the one inside your own head. Self-talk rewire is the mental weapon that transforms your internal dialogue so that your brain becomes your greatest ally instead of your silent enemy. Your brain is always listening to what you say to yourself. What you repeat, you eventually believe, and what you believe, you eventually live. Most people are living in a mental prison, not because of what the world has done to them, but because of the negative scripts they play on repeat every single day. They tell themselves, "I am not good enough. I always mess things up." Or, "I am just too far behind." Your brain is a soldier that follows orders. If your orders are toxic, your brain will sabotage your success to match those words. Most people never escape this negativity because they were never taught how to talk to themselves. We learn how to speak to others, but we ignore the one person we hear more than anyone else, ourselves. This leads to subconscious sabotage. Even when life gets better or opportunities finally arrive, if your inner voice is still screaming that you are unworthy, your brain will find a way to fail. Scientists have proven that your inner dialogue shapes your emotional regulation, your focus, and your confidence. Your subconscious mind does not understand sarcasm or jokes. If you keep saying, "I suck," your brain believes it is a fact. If you keep saying, "I always fail," it builds a failure loop in your mind. But if you shift that talk to, "I am learning," you open up new possibilities. This is not just positive thinking. This is high-level neurological programming. Consider the story of a long-distance runner named David. For years, he was physically elite, but he hit a wall halfway through every race. His body was ready, his training was perfect, but his mind kept quitting. He realized he had a repeating thought every time he got tired. "You are not built for this. You always give up." He didn't say it out loud, but it played like background music in his head. He decided to rewire it. He created a new, powerful mantra. "I am the kind of person who finishes, even when it hurts." He repeated this during his runs, before he slept, and while looking in the mirror. After 90 days, the script changed. He ran his first full marathon and finished strong, because his inner voice had changed its orders, and his brain had no choice but to obey. To use this weapon, start by becoming aware of your current self-talk. Keep a journal of your recurring thoughts and ask yourself, would I ever speak to someone I love the way I speak to myself? If the answer is no, it is time to create a new script. Write down your new affirmations. I finish what I start. I am a work in progress, but I do not quit. Repeat these during high-pressure moments, in the gym, at work, or after a setback. That is when your brain is listening the loudest. Speak them out loud. Your brain becomes what it hears most. If that voice is your enemy, it will attack your future. But if you turn that voice into your coach, your brain will fight for your destiny. Choose the voice that guides your life carefully, because the loudest voice always becomes your truth. Weapon 9. Mental warfare mode. The battlefield is not your life. The battlefield is your mind. If you do not go to war with your own limitations, you will be defeated by them. Mental warfare mode is not about being positive or waiting for things to get better. It is about absolute, brutal self-discipline and a total refusal to be broken. Life will throw challenges at you. People will let you down. Your plans will fall apart. Fear will try to whisper in your ear, and doubt will try to poison your progress. Your own mind will often be the one trying to convince you to quit, to settle, or to take the easy way out. Mental warfare mode is the decision to fight back. It is becoming so sharp, so grounded, and so psychologically armored that nothing can break you, not even yourself. The truth is, your brain is not naturally your friend. It was built for survival, not for success. Its only job is to keep you safe, which often means keeping you in fear, avoiding risk, and hiding from anything that might lead to failure. When you don't train for mental war, your brain will overthink every move, panic under pressure, and protect you from greatness by making sure you never try. This is not weakness. It is just your brain doing what it was programmed to do. But you can override that. Mental warfare mode is training your mind to follow your mission, not your mood. It is choosing to obey your goals rather than your emotions. Every thought you allow to stay in your head builds a mental pathway. Practice doubt, and doubt becomes your default. Practice quitting, and your mind will suggest it every time things get tough. Neuroscience shows that your brain does not care what you think. It simply reinforces whatever you repeat. Look at the story of a man named Victor, a psychiatrist who survived the most horrific conditions imaginable during a dark period of history. He was stripped of everything: his home, his family, his dignity, and his freedom. But inside that nightmare, he made a decision that changed the world. He realized that while his body was trapped, his mind was still his to control. He said that everything can be taken from a man except one thing: the freedom to choose his own attitude in any set of circumstances. He went to war against despair. He trained himself to find meaning even in suffering. He held on to his vision of the future, even when the present was hell. When he finally regained his freedom, he shared this truth with the world. If you master your mind, nothing can ever truly break you. To activate mental warfare mode, start by naming the war you are in. Are you fighting procrastination? Fear of failure? Emotional outbursts? Call it out, because you cannot win a battle you refuse to acknowledge. Write down your war orders. Make a commitment. I will not obey fear. I choose power over panic. I do not break when it gets hard. I sharpen. Create a morning ritual where you declare your mission and visualize your future. Speak like a warrior. You do not wait to feel strong. You train yourself to become strong. Your worst enemy is not out there in the world. It is the voice inside your mind telling you that you are not ready. But today, you fight back. You install the system, you sharpen your focus, and you discipline your thoughts. If you do not fight for your future, your fear will win by default. Mental warfare mode is not just a feeling. It is a decision, a command, and a way of life. Train your mind like a warrior, or be defeated by a weaker version of yourself. Now you know the truth. It is not about raw talent. It is not about luck. And it is certainly not about waiting for motivation to strike. It is about the 9 mental weapons you choose to install into your daily life that decide exactly who you become. Each one of these is a system. Each one is a mindset. And each one is a force that separates the people who actually change from those who spend their lives just dreaming. The choice is yours to make right now. Will you just watch this video and forget it by tomorrow? Or will you actually live it? Will you just remember these weapons? Or will you use them to win the battles that matter? Nobody is coming to save you, and nobody is coming to train your brain for you. That responsibility is yours alone. Today, you have been given the tools. Your brain is no longer your enemy. It is your greatest weapon. Now, go out there and sharpen it every single day. If this video gave you the power you needed, if this changed something deep inside you, then do not leave without hitting that subscribe button. We are building a community where weakness dies and true power is trained. Subscribe now, because the next video might just be the one that finishes your transformation. Thank you for watching. Your journey to mental greatness has only just begun.